Okay, we're going to continue with the I Am Discourses from where we left off, which was Discourse VIII and Part II. Those who have reached the great disillusionment that wealth or the outer effect of things cannot bring happiness will understand with great blessing that within their own creative thought, power and feeling are held perfect happiness, perfect freedom and perfect dominion. When the student once understands that whatsoever he or she connects himself or herself with through the attention, he or she becomes a part to the degree of the intensity with which his attention is fixed, he will see the importance of keeping his or her attention off the seeming destructive angles of human experience, no matter what they are. To discuss the seemingly inability, shortcomings or faults to your friends and associates, but builds that element upon which your discussion rests within your own consciousness and also adds to the appearance with which seems to be in the other individual. Because there are black magicians in the world, certain of God's children who are misdirecting and contaminating the pure electronic energy of the I Am presence, is no reason why we should let our attention rest upon that fact, just because we are aware of it. Our business is to hold the attention free and to rest within our own self-control, compelling it by the conscious attention to rest on whatsoever we choose. Few understand that when their attention is called to some destructive thing, how much and how often they allow the attention to go back to it, or if another has dispelled them in some way, how much and how often that attention returns to that incident when they have the full power to control their attention and make it obey their command. Few, even among earnest students, yet understand what a mighty power their faculty of attention becomes under their controlled use. This is where I'm being shown to tell you, this is where the thought form and the consciousness tracking exercises, and in particular the becoming the observer self lessons come in handy. Becoming the observer self, you become more and more aware of the thought forms that are coming through your mind and that you're attaching to. You see, thoughts only become thought forms when you emotionally attach to them. But if you even get one emotional reaction to a thought, then that becomes a thought form. So becoming the observer self is about seeing every thought as just a passing leaf passing by on the waters of the riverbank, on the stream of consciousness, and going with the divine flow, not going with the thought form flow, okay? And leaving the thoughts to do their thing without you attaching to them. Only attach to the thoughts and the thought forms that you want manifested in your life. See, now we're understanding the power of this, okay? So to continue, I wish so much to impress upon the students how foolish it is to be affected, displeased or disturbed by the imaginary activities of the ignorance of the outer self. When they once know I am the only all-powerful acting presence in my mind, my body and my world, they cannot possibly be affected or disturbed by any of their associations in the outer world. They must know then that they are entirely immune from hurt or disturbance of the outer mind of other individuals, no matter what they truly try to do. With this understanding, or by giving willing attention to this great truth, they will soon find a peace, happiness and self-control operating about them to such an extent that no outer condition, disgruntled comment or disturbance of their associates could in any ways disturb them, their world or their affairs. As soon as the individual becomes aware that he or she really has control of his or her own creative thoughts, power and feeling, then they know positively that they can precipitate into their visible use or bring into the use from the outer where it is already created. Okay? It's already happened. When you manifest things, you Your viewpoint is it's already happened, and you're celebrating it, and you're feeling the joy as if that manifestation has already taken place. Anything whatsoever upon which he holds his creative thought and feeling firmly. The moment that he is truly aware of this, he will know he is forever free from the need of the wealth of the outer world or anything that the outer world can give. Thus has he entered into the mastery and dominion of his own world, the only world that is ever existent to him and which is his God-given birthright. I assure you there is no such thing as a supernatural world. As we step from this sphere of activity into another higher, that one becomes just as real as this. I would say more real. After exploring them, I would say more real. But anyways, yeah, it is simply a different state of consciousness, yes, we have entered into. The joy, glorification and blessing of the mothers, sisters, wives and daughters, I will say that within 100 years there will be hundreds who will be able to use the cosmic rays to cleanse their homes and keep them, to weave their seamless garments, when they will have no desire to follow the freakish styles created by some commercialized idea. I find so many of the students wondering how it is that ascended beings or masters, with all their creative power, often choose to live in a humble quarters. I assure you the explanation is very easy. The far greater part of their life and activity is spent in the higher spheres, in which they are directing mighty rays of light to the blessings of humanity from homes and temples of light and wisdom, so beautiful, so transcendent, as almost to stagger the imagination of the outer consciousness. Those homes and temples of eternal, ever becoming more and more beautiful. So they only spend a few hours in the visible world, which causes them to lower the density of their transcendent forms, that they may become visible to those yet occupying the physical body. So I'm showing, Jesus came down, Yeshua HaMashiach, who they call Jesus. Jesus wasn't his real name, by the way. Jesus means Hail Zeus, but we'll go into that in a different teaching. Jesus was a late fourth, basically a fifth density wanderer who had to lower his vibration to a third density to come here to teach. So did Buddha and many of the other great masters. So to continue, if the students will understand this, and it will save them much questioning and confusion in the outer expression, which time they can use in the activity of the mighty I Am Presence. This will bring them into that transcendent state and consume the longing for wealth of the outer world, which is but rubbish in comparison to the transcendent creative power inherent in every individual. They can bring this transcendent power into their use, though their own self-control and mastery. I say to you, beloved students, children of the one God, is it not worth your sincerest efforts when you know you cannot fail? Take your scepter of the mighty creative power and be forever free from all past binding limitations which have beset mankind throughout the ages. I assure you that everyone who enters into attain this scepter and mastery will be given every needed assistance, if each one will try with all his or her ability. The one having the understanding of his creative ability must know that he can create whatsoever he will, in whatever rate of vibration he desires to hold it, whether it be light or any other condensation he may choose to maintain it. You know you have the ability to change your thought from Chicago to New York in the same instant, and you know you can change your thought from a condition of light to one of very dense condensation, such as iron. Iron being, of course, a first density element. Then one cannot help but see that this which he does every moment, consciously and at will, he can bring into a more powerful use by consciously fixing the attention and holding it upon what he desires. The attention is the channel by which God's mighty energy through thought and feeling flows to its desired accomplishment. Because one has not yet precipitated something from the invisible, there is that lurking doubt until some simple manifestation has occurred. Then his or her courage and confidence leaps into dominion, and in future he or she have no trouble in precipitating whatsoever they desire. The precipitation of gold or jewels from the invisible to visible is as simple as breathing. When once that foolish questioning doubt accumulated by the outer is consumed or pushed aside. Wow. Mankind, through the centuries, has built up these walls of limitation. Now they must be broken up, shattered, and consumed in any way that we can do it. At first, it does take determination to do it, but when you know it is the I am power acting, you know it cannot fail. The outer only has to hold the attention fixed on the object to be made visible. Dwell on this, and all of a sudden you will find yourself in the activity, and you will be amazed that you dwelt for so long without using it. The length of the ray from a precipitated substance or condensation of light is controlled by the consciousness of the wearer. If the wearer's consciousness is raised very high, the scintillation is very great. The jewel of light is yet in its transcendent state of perfection. The jewel in a condensed substance, such as a diamond, emerald, or ruby, naturally will take on the condition of its wearer. If the rate of thought vibration in the person wearing it be low, the jewel will become lusterless, while if the thought be transcendent, it will become very luminous. And I've been shown that this is true, and the Atlanteans knew this, and they used crystal technology a lot, using this same elaboration, using the same illustration, using the same process. They knew that thoughts and feelings could be impregnated into crystals, and they used this on a regular basis. To continue, when one has become a sincere student reaching to the light, he or she must qualify everything in his or her environment with the quality of the I am presence, no matter what the appearance seems to be. You see, there cannot be a quality or an appearance in your world except what you give to it. If fears cause you to believe in a disturbing presence, you are responsible for it. Because if there were to be a disturbing presence and you qualify it, the I am presence, you see how impossible it would be for you to disturb you, for it to disturb you. There is only one energy acting, and the moment you acknowledge the I am presence, you have requalified the activity with perfection. Expectation is a very powerful qualifying consciousness to maintain. Intense expectation is a splendid thing. It manifests always. The individual through the centuries has created a veil through which he has shut out the transcendent spheres. If he has created it, which he has, then common sense and reasoning will tell one that he can uncreate it. A powerful radiation has gone forth to yourselves and students with powerful conviction that will be sustained until they have this work which is given today. To convey the simplicity, the ease and certainty to which the idea through creative thought and feeling can be brought into visibility is the thing the students should dwell upon. This will dissolve that feeling of can I, and in its place put the I can and I know. If the students will keep themselves in harmonious form time to time, they will have flashes that will give them all needed confidence. Add to all commands on going out of the body, and you retain the conscious memory of whatever you experience. And yeah, we'll come to the end of the time. I'll see you on the next part. Namaste.